Good morning and welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Today, Cameron and I got a very special job, one that I've been anticipating. I think Cameron too. We've been anticipating this job for a couple months. We're going to be replacing that Thetford Macerator Pump. We diagnosed this, I'd say a couple months ago, and we ordered a part. It was on back order and didn't really know if we were going to get it before this gentleman had to leave our area. Well, we did, so now we get to change it. So I will put a link to that first video right up here, and so if you want to see the whole series, and then you can go check that one out. But me and Cameron, oh hey, exciting news, we now have a new mic system, so we're both mic'd up. Say hello, Cameron.
Hello, guys.
So we are both mic'd now, and so hopefully that'll make our audio better. Can't make it any worse, I know that. And you know, I mean, me and Cameron, we didn't get any better looking, but hopefully you can hear us now. And so we're gonna get started here. Let me show you this pump real quick. So there is that Thetford Macerator Pump. If that will focus, there's all your pertinent information on it if you want to know. What we are going to try and do is not change this base. We were told by Thetford we can take these screws out, just pull the pump out, and leave most of our plumbing. Now the way they've got this thing mounted in that motorhome, we're not going to be able to completely, get away without disturbing some plumbing, but we're going to try and keep that to a very minimum if possible. Pretty good chance of rain in our area today, and I hope we don't get rained on, because if it starts raining, the camera's going away. So it's gonna be put up. So hopefully the rain will hold off. We can get this thing done. We can show you what we're doing, and so yeah, we're gonna get started. So here's where we're working. There's our pump. Like I say, we're gonna have to take these gray lines loose up here. We're gonna have to cut one, but I brought Fernco fitting to put that back with. Kind of looks to me like we might be able to get away with taking this gray valve apart, cutting this one drain pipe, the gray pipe up here, and then hopefully we can get that pump right out of the top, change that pump without disturbing all of this plumbing down in here. That is the plan. So we will see how that works out for us. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna dive right in. All right, we're gonna have to take this gray valve apart, this black valve apart, and like I say, cut that one pipe back in there, and then I think that will give us enough room to get that pump out of the top, and I hope. I think it'll work. That's the plan anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and start taking these apart. Hopefully we won't have any surprises in here. I'm gonna get all of his stuff out of here that I can, just in case there's a surprise waiting for us. All right, so that is all the screws out of that. Get a little bit of surprise there. Let's see here. Why did we get a surprise? Because we didn't do that. All right. Smells like shower water. You know what I say about shower water, right? There's two kinds of people in the world, I believe. Those that pee in the shower and those that lie about peeing in the shower. Which are you? So yeah, just take that for what it is. So we got the gray one done. Now let's start on this black one here. Of course, as always, one or two of the bolts in these valves are pretty easy to get to, and then you have the others. Don't mind a little surprise in the gray, but here's where we don't want to have a surprise. Of course, I think this is actually all gray in here. This thing is, I know if you watch that other video that we did a couple months ago, this thing is just plumb eat up with valves in this compartment. I mean, it's got a valve for every occasion in here. It's crazy. How many sewer valves are in this compartment? All right, well, we're just gonna have, I tried to drain that, but it won't drain. So we're just gonna have to drain it into the compartment. All over our stuff, all over me, so on and so forth. So there's one gray valve. And this is a 3-inch valve, but I think it's, for all practical purposes, it's a gray valve also. So that'll get out of the way. That's the one we have to cut right there. Let's go ahead and snip these wires off. Those out of the way. Now I snipped these wires off. I'm gonna put a little black tape on these just so they don't touch something while we're back in here fooling around. I mean, it's no big deal. It would pop a fuse somewhere probably, but then we'd have to go find that fuse. So just to make life a little simpler, we'll just tape them up a little bit and we won't have to worry about that. Now I'm going to reach back in here where you cannot see, because I cannot see, and cut that one gray pipe off. Like I say, we've got a Fernco fitting to go back on it. Don't know what a Fernco fitting is? I'll show you here in a few minutes. Seriously. All right, so we got that one pipe cut off. So there that is. And actually, you know how usually when you cut PVC pipe it's so crooked? That was in a crazy awesome place. Look how straight that cut is. Is it perfect? No. But it's better than you usually do, in a lot better place than that. We're just gonna get all them screws out of the top of that pump. Like I say, I'm told that once you get them screws out, that pump actually comes out of this housing. And that's all we have to change, is just the pump. You know, so we not only have the 8 screws that hold the pump together, but there's also 8 screws that hold the pump in this bracket back here. Now, since Cameron's mic'd up, you guys are going to have to encourage Cameron to talk more, because now you can hear him. Right,
is that
Cameron?
a subtle hint?
That's what we call a subtle hint.
Subtle hint.
Subtle hint, yes sir.
Good.
Without being direct, it was just a subtle hint.
So once we get this cover off, will the pump just pull straight out, or will there be anything we have to disconnect inside?
I certainly hope it just pulls straight out. There's got to be some kind of grommet for these wires.
Yeah.
We may get, I'll tell you what, let's go get the screws out of the new one and see what kind of situation we have there. I know there has to be some kind of seal, a grommet or something on that, on those wires. So we'll go check that out and we'll be right back with you. Since I am not going to be able to show you this in the coach, here's what we found. We took this lid off, and the pump is down here. It's held in with 4 more screws, and yes, there's a grommet there for the electric. And we also have an 1.5 inch line down there that has an O-ring on it. So it slides down in that slot right there. And something tells me that's going to be fun, making sure this O-ring stays put while we slide that in there with the wires and another grommet there. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. So like I say, you won't be able to see that in the coach, so that's why I'll show you right now. So we're going to get started taking, we're already started. We're going to finish getting the old pump out, get this new one in, and hopefully things will go smoothly. Just going to show you this here real quick. This is that Fernco fitting that we're going to put this back together with. What I'm going to do is figure out about halfway on this Fernco fitting. Take me a silver Sharpie. I'm going to mark this pipe so that when we, because what we'll do is slide this Fernco fitting all the way up on this pipe or the other pipe or whatever. And then once we get it all installed, then we're going to want this to be halfway. So we're going to mark that right now before we get anything slimy on there, which that'll make more sense here in a minute. Just take my silver Sharpie and mark that. Really, really boldly all the way around so that so we'll be able to see that back there in that hole. And that's for later. And you probably saw over on that other one, you know, there's these 8 screws that hold these 2 halves of this case together, this pump case. And they have little aluminum strips, like a big washer. And those 2 halves of the case, they are O-ringed, so we don't have to worry about that leaking as long as everything's nice and clean when we go back. That's one of the most important things with O-rings, is just to make sure that that everything is clean. All right, I got these. Yeah, here comes the cover. There's the cover. Lean that up there, let that drip dry. There's the O-ring between the 2 case halves. We're going to use the new one. Now that thing is full of water, so let's see here. If we pull this valve, that should drain that thing, and it does. Yay. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that grommet out of here for the wiring grommet. Then we got those 4 screws to get out down in there. This would be a whole lot easier if the top of that pump was more exposed. This would probably be a pretty easy job. Now I can't imagine changing the whole pump, having to deal with all this plumbing. There's just a lot of plumbing on this thing. There's 1, 2, 3. Well, that one's capped off. There's 3 or 4 3-inch and 1.5 inch fitting on this thing. That's a ton of plumbing. That's a ton. We're gonna have to use smoke and mirrors on this one. See our screws and more light. Whew, man, them screws look rough, boy. Them ain't stainless steel screws. Man, who thought that one out? Battery died on the camera. I did get one of those screws out, and it's not near as bad as I thought. It is a steel screw, but it's got some kind of coating on it, kept it from rusting. I had to put this towel up here because this thing was cutting my arm up here. So you really not gonna be able to see anything now. So we'll probably just be back in a few minutes after I get all 4 of these screws out. We got those 4 screws out that actually hold the pump in the housing. Now we're gonna raise that pump up out of there. There's our pump. So now we just need to clean our surfaces down there where our 2 O-rings go. Get all that nice and clean. We're not worried about the whole housing, but just where our O-rings go. And then we're going to start going back, so we'll be right back. We're just got everything cleaned up in there that we needed to clean up. I'm just going to put this Fernco fitting on this piece of pipe, and I know this is going to drive everybody crazy, but I'm going to put a little bit of petroleum jelly on this pipe so that this Fernco fitting will slide back and forth nice and easy. And you know what? Probably going to put some of this on our O-rings too. Something else will drive everybody crazy. It's like, oh, you can't do that. Petroleum jelly messes up rubber O-rings. I don't know. I've never seen it hurt. I know they make special stuff, but when we slide that pump down in that housing, there's an O-ring on the end of that thing. I don't want that O-ring coming out, so it's going to get a little bit of Vaseline on it to hold it in that ring. I don't care who don't like it. Alright, so we've got our pipe lubed up, got our Fernco, and then she just slips on there real nice and easy. And then when we get it in there, we'll slide it up on that other pipe until this silver Sharpie mark is at the end of this Fernco. We know we're dead center. We'll tighten her up, and that'll be a done deal. So Cameron's gonna go get me that the new pump and 4 new screws that came with it that go down inside that case. Here's that O-ring on this one fitting on this pump. Like I say, this O-ring is actually, all right, it may not get any petroleum jelly because it actually fits in there very, very well. So we should be okay. So those of you who don't like to see me use Vaseline on O-rings, you just got a freebie today. All right, I'm gonna get this thing slid in there. Well, that was easy. Got all 4 screws back inside the housing to hold the pump in. Now I'm going to work on getting this grommet for the wiring put back where it belongs. It seems to be a little bit short. I'm going to have to try and slide it a little bit on the pump. Yeah, and it moved, so yeah, that's cool. All right. That was pretty easy too. Something's got to go wrong here. This is too easy. Tell you what, Cameron, go to our new lid and our new O-ring for that. Double check real quick, make sure the O-ring groove is clean up here, which we did get a little bit of gunk in it while I was fooling around there, so we'll get it cleaned up again.
Are we using the new hardware for the lid?
Yes.
Okay.
Double check this again real quick. So there's our new O-ring, our new lid. We installed the new O-ring in that groove, and we don't have to worry about it going anywhere because it's laying flat. It should go in there and lay in that groove nice and pretty. Shouldn't be any issues. Just want to keep it out of the gunk. Keep it clean. I think that's going to be the hard part. Keeping it out of the gunk and keeping it clean. Those are words to live by right there. Stay out of the gunk. Stay clean.
Is there a limit to like how much you can stretch that, or is it pretty flexible?
It's actually a little on the large side. So I don't have to stretch it at all. Yeah, it could be about a 1/4 inch shorter. Bother me none. So don't want to stay down in the groove because it's a little on the long side. Wowzer. Well, that's pleasant. I knew there'd have to be a snag somewhere. This was just going way too smooth. That thing could be a ½ inch shorter, I do believe.
Dang.
We might have to see if the old O-ring might be a smidge smaller. We might have to reuse it. Here's the old one. See if it is a little bit. See if it's shrunk a little bit, maybe. It might be a smidge shorter, but it's still too long. Oh, we got her laid in there though. So, new lid. Yeah, it's way better than that. Way better than the new one. So there's no right or wrong way. Looks like it's all ambidextrous to me. Lay the new lid on and start putting the screws back. Now, one thing, it's a good thing I took a shower and put on clean clothes this morning, so I'd smell good for this sewer job. Man, sweating like crazy this morning. And it's actually cooled down a little bit here. It's only supposed to be like in the low 70s today, but the humidity is crazy. All right, that's the 8 screws that hold the 2 halves of the case together. Now we have to screw the whole pump into this bracket down here. All right, there's all our screws. Now we'll start putting the plumbing back together. I guess we could actually do our wiring right now and make sure this pump runs. We certainly hope it does. All right, wiring's done. I'm gonna button up the plumbing, but let's see if she runs. Oh, sounds so much better than the other one. Because the other one, when you turn the switch on, it was just like nothing. So at least this one makes a noise. Yeah, we're gonna button this plumbing up, and then we'll be right back with y'all. All right, well, I was just gonna do this plumbing with the camera off, but then I got to realizing we can talk about these valves here and how they work, and be almost basically like a how to change those. Although we're not changing any valves, but we did have to disassemble them, we'll have to reassemble them, so kind of the same thing. You've got seals on these valves. I don't want to take that one off. Let me show you this one, because that one's actually stuck pretty good, and that one is too. But that one's stuck pretty good. That one is too. So I don't want to take those off. But you have a seal on both sides of that valve that go on that fitting, and then your guillotine valve slides across here, and it actually just slides between those 2 gaskets just like that, and that's what makes the valve. So you always put these seals on your pipe and then insert your valve. So let me put this one fell off, so let me put it back on over here. It just goes on the pipe, just kind of, it'll stay there for the most part. But sometimes they'll fall off on you too, so you kind of got to be careful. Because if those seals aren't in there, your valve is not going to work. It's just going to leak on you. So when you're putting this in here, you actually have to, since we're putting this in the middle of 2 pipes, we have to spread this pipe out, and we got to insert our valve. Cameron's going to insert our 1.5-inch valve in here while I'm holding this. Tell you what, Cameron, let's do this. Actually, this one bolt won't come out because they glued it all together, you know, after the fact. So we're going to go ahead and put this, slide this valve on, slide everything back in there, and Cameron's going to spread. He's going to reach in there, probably block the camera and spread those pipes out a little bit. Since we got a bolt sticking out, we almost have to get it. Okay, got it. All right, so we got that one. I'm gonna stick a couple bolts in this and a couple nuts just to hold it until we'll get the 3-inch valve back in there. So we got a couple bolts, nuts snugged up in that gray valve. Now we're going to insert the 3-inch valve on this other side. So Cameron's going to reach in there and spread that pipe a little bit. I'm going to slip this valve in. And yes, we just totally blocked you, but sometimes that's just the way it is. So we got a couple bolts and nuts in the big one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to snug these a little bit, and I'm going to work my valves and make sure they work smoothly, and then we'll put the other 2 bolts in each one. Now these things, you do not want to over tighten these. I mean, I think the valve manufacturers almost, I mean, they want them like finger tight. Well, you know, that don't work in the real world. You got to snug them up enough to keep them from vibrating out and falling out on you. So I got them 2 snugged up. Yep, feels fantastic. Let me get these two small ones snugged up, and then we'll check it. But I mean, I'm just barely snugging these, folks. But they have to be snugged up, otherwise they're just going to vibrate out, fall out, and then you got leaky valves. So 2 of them snugged up. That feels great. All right, we're going to get the rest of our bolts in. All right, I'm not sure you can see that, but back in there's our Fernco. Yeah, you probably can't see that, but anyhow. So all our plumbing's back together. All of our bolts are tight in our valves. The valves still work good. Let's go ahead and sign out, and then I'll let you put the paper towel holder and stuff back in. Whew. Man, my knees do not like that.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, there you have it. There is changing your Thetford Macerator Pump. Macerator Pump. If you had better access, that would not be a bad job at all. What do you think, Cam?
Well, it didn't look too awful terrible, but granted, I wasn't the one down there doing it.
Oh, you're not the one with the scraped up arms and stuff?
No.
Oh, well, there is that. But hopefully these new mics are doing their job. I tested a little bit last night. I was impressed. I really thought they were going to really do a good job. And like I say, both of us will be mic'd up now. So now I get to do one of my most favorite things. Can you imagine what that is, Cameron?
Yes.
What?
Maybe. There's a variety of things. Favorite things. That's a pretty general category.
Oh, well, we get to call an extended warranty company now and argue about what they're going to pay for, what they're not going to pay for on this macerator pump. This gentleman has an extended warranty. And if you've watched my videos for very long, you know how I feel about extended warranties. It's like my most favorite thing in the world to do. So yeah, this thing's all wrapped up. Cameron's just gonna put a few screws back in for me. I'm gonna rest my knees. I'm gonna get on the horn with extended warranty company, and me and Cameron, then we're gonna go probably, I think it's about lunchtime, we're gonna go get some lunch, and then we got another one to work on, and y'all have a fantastic day. Got anything else you want to say, Cameron?
No, I think you said it all. For today, anyways.
I wasted money on that mic, didn't I?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Y'all have a good day.